Hello BookTube, it's Ben here from the History Fellow channel. A great big hello to you because I haven't done a video for 2 weeks, but mainly that's because it's down to I've been a bit poorly. I've had cellulitis in my leg for a while, and of course that's flared up, sort of does every 2 years. So that's why I haven't been making any videos the past couple of weeks. But anyway, I'm back with this video now, with a book haul. So I've got some books here, one from Harvard University, Pen and Sword, some Air World, and some Frontline books too. So we'll get on with this book haul and get going. The first one is from Harvard University, and it's called Women's War, Fighting and Surviving the American Civil War, written by Stephanie McCurry, author of Confederate Reckoning. That's from Harvard University. It's priced at $26.95 US, and it's kind of like looks at the life of women throughout the Civil War, both fighting and on the home front. If I give you a quick read from the back or from the inside sleeve, we think of war as a man's world, but women have always played an active role in the times and upheaval, and left to pick up all the pieces in society decimated by war. In this groundbreaking reconsideration of the Civil War, the award-winning author of Confederate Reckoning invites us to see America's bloodiest conflict not just as a pitting brother against brother, but as a woman's war. When the war broke out, Union soldiers assumed Confederate women would be innocent non-combatants. Experience soon challenged this simplistic belief. Through a trio of dramatic stories, Stephanie McCurry reveals the vital and sometimes confounding roles women played on and off the battlefield. We meet Clara Judd, a Confederate spy whose imprisonment for treason sparked heated controversy, define the principle of civilian immunity, and lead into lasting changes in the laws of war. Next, McCurry turns to the hundreds of thousands of enslaved women who escaped across Union lines, upending emancipation policies that extended only to enslaved men. The Union's response was to classify fugitive black women as soldiers' wives, regardless of whether they were married, offering them some protection but placing no obstacles in their path to freedom. In the war's aftermath, the Confederate Grand Dames Gertrude Thomas wrestled with her loss of status and her former slaves. War, emancipation, and the economic devastation affected her family intimately, and through her life experience, McCurry helps us to see how fundamental the changes of Reconstruction were. And it's a really nice has a really nice feel to the book. Just holding it makes you kind of want to read it. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to that one. That's Women's War, Fighting and Surviving the American Civil War, by Stephanie McCurry, published by Harvard University. Right, the next one's from Pen and Sword. Fighting with the Longrange Desert Group. Merlin Craw's MM's War. I presume that's one gentleman's name. 1940 to 45. Written by Brendan O'Carroll. It's published by Pen and Sword Books and is priced at £25. when I flick through the book, it kind of reminds me of one of the pen and sword books where it's mainly photographs, but this kind of seems like it's the other way. You've got predominantly more text, but quite a few photos throughout the book. Formed in 1940, the Longrange Desert Group was the first Allied Special Forces unit established to operate behind German and Italian lines in North Africa. Its officers and men were volunteers recruited from the British and Commonwealth units. Merlin Craw was serving with the 2nd New Zealand Expeditionary Force when he joined the LRDG in 1941. He took part in numerous missions in the desert. The navigational, driving and fighting skills of the LRDG were legendary, and they were frequently responsible for transporting Sterling's SAS detachments on raids. Merlin's luck ran out when he was captured on the Bass raid in September 42, but he escaped twice, the second time making it back to Allied lines. Sent home on leave, he returned to Italy with the New Zealand Army. After a disagreement, he went AWOL and rejoined the LRDG with no questions asked, serving until the end of the war. So, that's Fighting with the Longrange Desert Group, written by Brendan Carroll, or Brendan O'Carroll. And the next one is called Arise to Conquer, the Real Hurricane Pilot. And that's Wing Commander IR Gleed, DSO DFC. Yes. Distinguished Service Order and Distinguished Flying Cross. From one of the it's got comments from various newspapers on the back. Suddenly, above the crackles came, "Hello, Jackal aircraft. 4 patrol convoy, now off Burnhead, over." Before the message was finished, our engines had roared to life. Opening the throttles wide, we tore straight off down the drome. Wheels lifted, select wheels up, and a gentle bang beneath my seat. A red light on the dashboard told me that the wheels were locked up. So that's obviously part of the book. Born in 1916, after learning to fly as a civilian, Ian Richard Gleed was granted an RAF commission in 1936. He completed training on Christmas Day that year, being posted to 46 Squadron, which was equipped with the Gloucester Gauntlet. Through much of his RAF service, the diminutive Gleed was known as Widge, short for Wizard Midget. An account of his excessive use of the word wizard to describe something topper, and his short stature, rising from flight to squadron commander in short order, and later taking over the Ibsley Spitfire wing in 1941. Gleed was enormously popular with his peers. Indeed, Wing Commander Bunny Current once described Gleed as a pocket-sized man with care for others and courage beyond compare. Some of the nicknames they came up for each other were just weird and wild. That's The Rise to Conquer, the Real Hurricane Pilot. Change of scene for the next one. It's called Elizabeth I's Final Years. Her Favourites and Her Fighting Men. Written by Robert Stadel. And that's published by Pen and Sword Books. explores the later years of Elizabeth I's reign through the lives of her key favourites with whom she surrounded herself at court and elsewhere in refined game of courtly love. These were ambitious men who operated on uneven, uncomfortable ground or eroticized political standing, and were played off against one another with half promises of financial or political preferment. Walter Raleigh, Charles Blount, Robert Devereux, and Sir Francis Vere played crucial roles in the twilight years of the Virgin Queen's reign. By following these and other notable figures, spies, explorers, and military leaders, we can see how they interacted and operated with Elizabeth and her political advisors. As many of them aspired to military glory as their route to political authority, one or other of them became involved in almost all the campaigns making up almost continuous period of war with Spain in many different arenas following on from the Spanish Armada. This book stands on its own, but can be read as a sequel to the Elizabeth I's Secret Lover, covering the period from the death of Elizabeth's great favourite lord, Richard Dudley, until the early part of the reign of James I. So that's Elizabeth I's final years, written by Robert Stedall, published by Pen and Sword Books, and that's priced at £25. Right, back to the Second World War. We have Great Naval Battles of the Civil War. No, it doesn't. We've got Great Naval Battles of the Pacific War. Get me wars mixed up. The official Admiralty accounts: the Midway, Coral Sea, Java Sea, Guadalcanal, and the Leyte Gulf. I'm never sure whether I'm saying that right, because it's just a bit different, whether it's Leyte or late. And one of the paragraphs on the back: seldom in war can a situation have been more swiftly and suddenly reversed. Within minutes, 3 out of 4 of the carriers had been reduced to flaming wrecks, and Japanese sea power had suffered a blow from which it never recovered for the remainder of the war. That's from the Battle of the Midway, action of 4th of June. And then we have another one here. 15 minutes after the opening of the engagement, the order "all forces attack" was given. An enemy ship blew up and sank. Their formation fell into confusion. They gradually began to reverse their course and retreat under cover of the heavy smoke screen. 68 torpedoes were fired just 14 minutes during this attack. And that's from the Battle of the Java Sea, as part of the Japanese report. So that's Great Naval Battles of the Pacific War, compiled by John Green, published by Frontline Books, and that's £25. I shall leave a link to all these books below this video, so if any of you are interested in them, just follow the links and then you can get your own copy. Right, next one up is called The British Bonapartes. Napoleon's Family in Britain, and that's written by Edward Hilary Davis, published by Pen and Sword Books and priced at £22. A history of the family presented in a new way with a distinctly British angle. Information sourced directly from key members of the House of Bonaparte and their wider family. Multiple family trees to make the information as accessible as possible, and sheds new light on lesser-known Bonaparte individuals with important links to British cultural and political history. So it's more about his family rather than Bonaparte himself. And the penultimate book is The First Atomic Bomb, The Alternate Ending, or The Alternate History of the Ending of World War II. And that's written by Jim Manji, or Mangai. Published by Frontline Books, and that's priced at £25, The First Atomic Bomb. In this detailed investigation, the author reveals what might have happened had the Allies not been able to deploy the atomic bombs in August 1945, with the possibility that the war would have raged on longer than it actually did. Such a development might have resulted in bitter relations between North and South Japan, a secretive communist regime in Seoul, the UN's war against the Chinese invaders of Vietnam, peaceful prosperity for Cambodia and Laos as prime tourism destinations, obscurity for the Democratic People's Republic of Tonkin, a textbook-worthy MacArthur for President campaign, and candidate Eisenhower's promise to go to Vietnam. So, kind of an alternative and lots of what-ifs. So that's The First Atomic Bomb from Frontline. And the final book is probably my second favourite book that's arrived this week. And this is called Radical Victorians. The Women and Men Who Dared to Think Differently, written by James Hobson, published by Pen and Sword Books, and it's priced at £25. There is more to the Victorian era than respectability, economic success, and grudging solution of practical social problems they encountered. The politicians, generals, and commercial classes have been well covered in popular history books, but there are also thinkers and radicals and unsettling ideas who had real influence at the time. Many were women, many in the middle and working classes, and most outside the power structure. Most of these radical ideas were rejected by society, but not all of them were on the fringe. Queen Victoria herself attended a séance, for example. The book is a biography focused on history of some of these challenging ideas and the men and women who promoted them. It looks at radical thinkers and movers, the people who stepped outside of the social norm and propelled the Victorians towards the modern day. And I think there's something about the Victorian age I just like. It just seems like there was so much going on, just a whole variety of work and social problems and social classes and wars and what have you. And it's just a really good century to look at, I think, because there's so much going on. So I'm probably going to thoroughly enjoy reading that book. And that's The Radical Victorians. The Men and Women Who Dared to Think Differently, written by James Hobson. And that's all my books this week that I've received. So thank you very much for watching. It's kind of nice to be back. And I shall see you very soon, because after this I'll probably do my weekly reads video. Got that coming up. And then some other things along with that as well. So you'll just have to watch the next video. So thank you very much for watching. Please feel free, if you want to, give the video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, then please feel free to do so if you like your history and your books. So thank you very much, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.